17's a bitch, right?
Malik Henry is going to be suspended.
You know, he's still a walk-on. Got to get his academics squared away.
Malik, right now he's suspended.
I want to kill you every game. I want to eat your heart out. I want to take your soul. I want everything from you, and I want to talk shit doing it.
Malik Henry. There are certain names that those who follow high school football and college football will always be interested in. When you see their name on a paper or popped across a sports channel, it'll make you put down your phone, get off Twitter, and check out what's going on. Malik Henry is one of those guys. Some of us met Malik as the 5-star quarterback headed to Florida State. Some of us met him cussing out everybody on Netflix. Some of us met him playing at Nevada and dealing with life after Last Chance U. The Malik Henry story is always one that people want to follow. So today we're going to talk about what happened to Malik Henry. We're going to talk about what he's up to today. But first, what's up, guys? Welcome to NMD TV, No More Than Feast TV, where all we do is win, never take any losses. And shout out to my boss, guys. If you love talking sports, this is the channel right here. So like and subscribe so you never miss out on a video. Question of the video is, do you think Last Chance U should go back to football? Do you think it should go back to football or stick with basketball? Let me know what you think. I'll give you a second to answer in the comment section. Okay, we're talking about Malik Henry. Let's get it. Malik Henry, like most of us, grew up around sports. With his work ethic and time invested in the sports at a young age, he became a natural. Good on the football field, but just as good on the baseball mound. A lot of people to this day thinks Malik had what it takes to go pro in baseball. At one point, he almost quit football just to focus on baseball. Instead, he decided to destroy high school defenses in California as quarterback one. As a quarterback in high school, Malik could run. He had good arm strength, the ability to throw from different platforms and angles. He could do it all. According to Max Prep, his high school career stats look like this: 5,826 passing yards, along with 52 touchdowns. By the time he was a junior, his role would change because every school would want Malik Henry as their quarterback. With the choice to go to any school, he decided to get mentored and coached by Jimbo Fisher.
I'll be committing to Florida State.
Malik, Florida State it is. Why the Seminoles?
I felt comfortable around Coach Jimbo Fisher. I think he's a great quarterback coach. He knows his stuff.
Now, it was around this time when red flags would pop up. See, when Malik started to gain a lot of attention, his father came into his life more to help his son make the tough decisions. Malik's father himself has said that he's made several decisions for Malik, even if they weren't what Malik wanted himself. According to his father, Malik was young and too young to be making some of the tough decisions that was going on, so he would be the one in his household to make the decisions for his kids, just to help them out and to steer them to the right path to get them where they want to be. One of the choices he made was to send Malik to Florida early so he could play for IMG Academy and work with former Heisman winning quarterback Chris Winkie. Malik would last about 4 months at IMG. 4 weeks after Malik stated he was transferring to IMG and he would work with Chris Winkie, Chris Winkie would dip, take a job in the NFL, and say goodbye to IMG. Henry clashed with the new coaching staff, had attitude, maturity issues according to IMG, so IMG and Malik Henry would part ways. Now, normally I would look at this situation and say, okay, let's think about this. Young kid moving from California to Florida. The coach who helped recruit him to the high school left for the NFL. Things didn't work out. But when IMG reported that Malik had clashes, attitude problem, maturity issues, those are actions that later on in this video, you will see Malik had at a couple stops throughout his life. It would become a pattern. New school, new chance, then the attitude problems pop up, problems adapting to a new situation would happen. So keep that in mind throughout this video. Malik will play his senior year of high school football at Long Beach Poly. Then after that, back to the state of Florida to play college ball for the Florida State Seminoles. Arriving on campus, there was a lot of Malik Henry buzz, Malik Henry hype. And according to those who were at these practices, Malik looked the part. Although Jimbo Fisher wanted to redshirt him, some thought that he could come in and compete for that starting quarterback job right away. The public would get to see this talent on hand during Florida State spring game, and Malik balled out, completing 15 of 22 passes, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. The hype was high, all seemed good. Then this happened.
Some pretty big news out of FSU practice today. Jimbo Fisher announced that freshman quarterback Malik Henry, a highly touted prospect out of California, is going to be suspended for a violation of team rules. Fisher didn't really want to elaborate a little bit more than that. When asked a couple follow-up questions, he just repeated that Henry will be suspended for a violation of team rules. So it seems like it's going to be pretty indefinite. Whether he plays in the season opener remains to be seen. I think Henry was kind of in line to take a redshirt year during his first time on campus, just like DeAndre Francois and Jameis Winston did during their first seasons here.
As I searched for details of what actually went down at FSU, I couldn't find details. Malik dad did do an interview on ESPN. Here's his side of the story.
Season started, we found out Malik's grandmother had cancer. His grandfather had a stroke. Malik's very close to his grandparents. Malik wanted to come home. It's like, no, you got to stay in school, you got to play football. And I think the anxiety led to, a state of depression. And I think it spiraled out of control at that point. And at that point, I made a decision that after seeing him and talking to Jimbo, all right, we got to get him out of here. And we did. And that's how he left Florida State.
So here's the pattern again. Malik shows the talent. He's at a new school, a new scene, and then unfortunately unable to adapt, end up having issues with another football program. This time it's Florida State. And for him to continue his dream of playing football, he would have to go to the JUCO level. And this pattern would show up once again at his next stop in Southeast Kansas, where he'd play for Independence Community College and star in the Netflix show Last Chance U. Now, if you watch that show, you know Malik was the best quarterback on the team for his ICCU career, which lasted only 2 seasons. He'd play 12 games, throw for 1,620 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Those stats aren't jaw-dropping. They aren't crazy, but I think those stats weren't as good as they could be because I don't think Malik actually bought into the school. He always had that I'm too good for this type of attitude on the show. When watching him play and hearing him dissect plays, you could see on the show that this kid was talented, that this kid was smart. But boy, I don't know if it was the edits or what, but the way that he came off nationally after everybody watched the show on Netflix is arrogant, selfish, know-it-all, crazy. To me, sometimes the man was just hilarious. You know, he would be cussing at the coaches. Mid-game, he would try to be the offensive coordinator saying, hey, let me call the plays, let me do this. And then he would also get into it with opposing players, do things like this.
Your mama raised a bitch.
In double overtime.
17's a bitch, right?
Now let's have some common sense, man. I'm sure these players do this all across America. Most of us watching this video has been in high school football, college football, something to that level where there's jawing and there's players getting into coachings and things like that. We see that with programs. The difference is I can't believe Malik would present himself knowing he had a mic on, knowing that there was cameras around. It was just crazy, some of the things he was doing, knowing that he was being recorded for a big-time show. Malik would eventually flame out at Independence Community College. Same pattern, new location, shows talent, but showed poor attitude and maturity problems. But this time it was well documented because of the popularity of the show Netflix. I will say this, Malik was on that show 2 seasons. The first season, I felt like he was just crazy. The second season, it seemed like he started to understand that he needed to calm down, that he needed to be chill, he needed to be more methodical with what he was saying and doing because, hey, everybody's watching this show. But after the 2 years at Independence Community College, many really thought that this was his last chance ever to play football again. It wasn't, though, because in 2019, he'd be added to Nevada's roster as a walk-on quarterback. New coach Jay Norvell said this about Malik. I love junior college quarterbacks because those kids have been scared a little bit. They've been humbled. That's kind of what happened with Malik. He's a super talented kid who made an early commitment to Florida State, and probably if he had to do it all again, he probably would have made a different decision. He spent some time at junior college and probably has one last shot to get his career corrected, and we're going to give him that. We wanted to build an environment where at Nevada, we can train quarterbacks, where we can develop them fundamentally, but also spiritually and mentally. I want to think that's what he needs. He needs support. He needs a coaching staff that will love him, teach him how to do things the right way, and in a system where he can grow and develop. And that's something we feel like we have here at Nevada. This situation was different for Malik. When you look at the past, I feel like IMG really wanted Malik. They needed Malik. Florida State really wanted Malik. They needed Malik. ICU wanted Malik. It needed Malik. But Nevada, they didn't really need Malik. It was a low risk, high reward type of situation. You got a super talented kid who wants to walk on. You give him a chance, and if things don't go right, he's a walk on. You could just let him go or something of that matter. In 2019, Malik would be on that walk on grind, make the team, and play 2 games for the Wolfpack. He threw for 593 yards with a touchdown, completing 53.8% of his passes, with his best game being against San Jose State, where he threw for 352 yards, including a 75-yard bomb for Nevada's longest play of the year. Malik seemed to have found a coach in a program who really trusted him, and Nevada seems to have found the diamond in the rough quarterback. Everything was good, and then this happened.
And he's just gotten behind in some of his classes, and I just didn't think it was fair for him. I thought the best thing for him was to focus on his academics and take a little break from football. And he's not suspended. He hasn't broken any team rules, but it's the best thing for him as a student. And
the same pattern that we've talked about throughout this video happened again. That was the last of Malik's college eligibility. So the question is now, what is he up to today? Well, trying to figure out about his personal life was tough because he has no Twitter and he isn't active on IG. He hasn't done any podcasts or done any interviews or anything of that nature. After leaving Nevada, he would return home at one point to help feed the homeless during the pandemic. He has since joined the Indoor Football League, playing for the Fresco Fighters. So far, he's played 6 games for him, throwing for over 700 yards and 10 touchdowns, and he ended the season as the starting quarterback. Now, this may seem small to some, but I think this is a big win for Malik because this is Malik going to a new situation, started it, and he finished with this team, and so far has had no reported incidents. Hopefully Malik continues to play the game he loves, and most importantly, I hope he continues to grow as a man. Malik Henry's the type of guy, the type of story that when people see his name, when people see him, they're going to always want to know what happened and what Malik Henry is up to today.